The first moments of a shift are quiet, but for Officer Mia Ramirez, they were filled with a familiar rhythm. The soft padding of Ranger's paws and the steady beat of her own breath. "Ready, boy?" she whispered, fastening his K9 vest, with practiced hands. Ranger's dark eyes locked onto hers, calm and focused, like they shared a secret no one else could understand. Mia had been with the Port Authority Police for 5 years, but it was Ranger who made each day different. He wasn't just a dog. He was her partner, her shadow, her protector. Today, the winter chill still clung to the air inside JFK's Terminal 4, but inside this bond, there was warmth. "Let's make it through the morning," Mia said, stepping out into the bustle of early travelers. Ranger stayed close, muscles coiled like a spring ready to snap. His ears twitched at the constant hum of announcements, rolling suitcases, and hurried footsteps. They moved together through the terminal with a silent understanding. Mia knew when Ranger sensed something out of place, before the crowd even noticed. She remembered the first time she met him at the K9 training center, how other handlers gave up because Ranger was too intense, too focused. But she saw something different. "You're not a failure," she had told him softly, kneeling by his kennel. "You just need someone who understands." That connection had grown into trust. Ranger was relentless but controlled, a guardian who never lost his cool. Even when the chaos of the airport seemed overwhelming, Ranger's steady presence was a beacon. "Morning, Ramirez." Security Supervisor Thornton greeted them, his usual frown deeper than normal. "We've got a heads up from Interpol. Possible wildlife trafficking moving through in the next couple days. Keep an eye out." Mia's gaze sharpened. "Anything specific?" "Diplomatic pouches, high-end luggage, Southeast Asia, Central Africa. This one's tricky. State Department is breathing down our necks about sensitivities." Mia nodded. "If Ranger hits, we're investigating. No exceptions." Thornton looked at Ranger, who was already scanning the crowd with sharp eyes. "Good. You two know what to do." As the terminal began to fill, Mia felt that familiar weight, excitement mixed with the unknown. Ranger's nose twitched. He was ready. Whatever today held, they would face it together. "Let's move, buddy," Mia said, her voice steady but full of trust. Ranger matched her pace, the start of another day written in the unbreakable bond between a handler and her K9 partner. The crowd moved around them, rushing to catch flights or reunite with loved ones. But Ranger wasn't focused on the chaos. His eyes locked on one black leather suitcase sitting among the designer bags on the carousel. Mia noticed the sudden change in his posture, stiff, alert, and unmoving. "Ranger?" she whispered, her voice low but firm. The dog's nose twitched rapidly and his tail was still, a clear sign he'd caught a scent that didn't belong. Mia stepped closer, scanning the owner. A man in his 50s stood by, calm and composed, wearing a sharp suit and carrying diplomatic papers. His badge read Dr. Ahmed Nazari. "Sir, may I speak with you for a moment?" Mia asked politely but with authority. The man's eyes flicked to Ranger, then back to Mia. "Is there a problem, officer?" he said, his voice smooth but cautious. "This suitcase caught my partner's attention. I need to check it," Mia explained, trying to keep the tone respectful. Nazari's expression hardened. "I have diplomatic immunity. This is a diplomatic pouch protected by international law. You cannot open it." Ranger growled low, his body tense against Mia's side. "Control your dog," Nazari warned, stepping forward. But Mia didn't waver. "Ranger, heel," she ordered, though her heart raced. Ranger stayed by her, but his focus never left the suitcase. People nearby stopped to watch. Phones came, out recording the standoff. Mia could feel the weight of eyes on her. "Sir, this isn't personal. But if Ranger is alerting me, something is wrong," she said quietly. "Please cooperate." Nazari's calm cracked. "This is unacceptable. I have an important meeting with the State Department. You will regret this interference." His hand hovered near his jacket pocket, and Mia's instincts screamed caution. Suddenly, Ranger lunged, sinking his teeth into the leather suitcase. The crowd gasped. Mia froze, shocked at how fiercely Ranger attacked, ignoring his training to hold back. "Ranger, release!" she shouted, trying to regain control. But Ranger held firm, growling as he pulled the case away from Nazari. The man's face turned pale, eyes wide with alarm. Security rushed in as Ranger's teeth left clear puncture marks on the suitcase. It wasn't supposed to be vulnerable. "Officer, stand down," a voice ordered. Mia glanced at Supervisor, Thornton approaching, his face grim. "This is a diplomatic pouch, Ramirez. You know the rules." "I know what I saw," Mia replied, voice steady. "There's something inside this case, and Ranger sensed it." The tension in the terminal thickened. Ranger's fierce loyalty had forced a moment no one expected. A dog acting on pure instinct against diplomatic barriers. What was hidden inside that suitcase to make him break all the rules? Mia had no idea yet. But she knew this was just the beginning. The moment Ranger bit into the suitcase, everything changed. The buzz of the busy terminal turned into a low murmur of shock. Travelers stopped in their tracks, eyes wide, phones raised to record the unexpected scene. "Control your dog, officer." Dr. Ahmed Nazari's voice was sharp, laced with anger. He stepped forward, his diplomatic badge flashing as if it could shield him from what was unfolding. Mia felt the weight of every gaze, the heavy pressure of protocol crashing against Ranger's raw instinct. "Sir, please," she said firmly. "I'm Officer Ramirez with Port Authority Police. Your cooperation is necessary." But Nazari was unyielding. "I have diplomatic immunity. This is a protected diplomatic pouch. You will not violate international law." His voice was cold, his eyes hard. Ranger growled, his muscles tense under his vest. Mia tugged gently on his leash. "Ranger, heel," she ordered, but the dog's attention never wavered from the suitcase. The leather showed clear bite marks, now punctured and torn. The air between them was thick with tension. The crowd whispered, some shocked, others curious. "What's going on?" a woman asked, clutching her child. A man with a camera murmured, "Is this a scandal waiting to happen?" Mia's heart pounded. She knew this wasn't just about a suitcase. It was about trust, safety, and the bond between her and Ranger. Security personnel arrived, surrounding the scene. Supervisor Thornton stepped in, his voice steady but firm. "Ramirez, step back. This is a diplomatic item. We must respect the rules." Mia met his gaze, unflinching. "With all due respect, Thornton, Ranger's alert is real. Something's inside that case." She glanced at Ranger, who sat alert, eyes sharp and unwavering. Nazari's lips curled into a bitter smile. "You don't understand. This is bigger than you think. I am protected by law." He pulled out a small folder, waving official-looking documents. "You will release my luggage immediately." Mia's fingers tightened on the leash. "Documents or not, my partner's instincts can't be ignored." Suddenly, Ranger lunged again, teeth sinking deeper into the suitcase. The man shouted, "Enough!" But Ranger's resolve was unbreakable. Mia's voice rang out, "Ranger, release!" But the dog only growled louder. The airport security's radio crackled. "Situation escalating. Need backup." Whispers grew into murmurs. Some passengers recorded, some murmured about diplomatic scandal. "This dog is out of control," one man muttered. "Or maybe he's the only one seeing the truth," another replied softly. Mia's mind raced. How far would she trust Ranger against all the rules and protocols? "Step aside," Thornton ordered the security team. "We'll handle this calmly." But Mia felt the weight of the moment. This was no longer just about luggage or immunity. It was about justice, instinct, and the courage to stand for what's right, even when the world tells you to back down. And Ranger, her fearless partner, was at the heart of it all. The moment Ranger's teeth tore through the leather, Mia knew this was no ordinary suitcase. The sound of ripping leather echoed faintly, but what came next made her heart skip. Beneath the surface was something hard, unusual. She knelt, examining the puncture marks Ranger had left. It wasn't just fabric. Something stronger was hidden beneath. "Look at this," Mia said quietly, her voice tense. She ran her fingers along the edges of the tear, feeling an odd texture, like metal mesh. This isn't normal luggage. Supervisor Thornton approached, frowning as he glanced at the damaged case. Ramirez, this is a diplomatic item. We can't just tear it open like this. Mia met his eyes, her voice firm. I know what I'm seeing, Thornton. Ranger's instincts are telling us this case is hiding something serious. We have to investigate. Thornton hesitated, glancing over his shoulder as if worried about unseen consequences. You're stepping on thin ice here. Diplomatic immunity is tricky. One wrong move and we're in hot water. Ranger sat obediently beside Mia, his eyes sharp and alert. Mia's gaze softened as she looked at him. He's not just a dog, Thornton. He's our best chance to stop something dangerous slipping through this airport. Nearby, Nazari watched with a cold smile, confident that protocol would protect him. You're making a mistake, he said quietly. This suitcase is off limits. But Mia was already on the phone requesting a more thorough inspection. Yes, I need the bomb squad and customs here immediately, she said. There's reinforced shielding under the leather. We can't ignore it. Minutes passed like hours. The tension in the air was thick. Officers whispered about the risk of crossing diplomatic lines while Mia waited, her hands trembling slightly. Ranger stayed by her side, calm but ready. Ramirez, Thornton finally said. This could get messy. You sure you want to push this? She looked down at Ranger and back up, her voice steady. If we don't, who will? He trusted me. I trust him. The arrival of the bomb squad brought a new level of seriousness. The technicians carefully examined the suitcase, confirming Mia's fears. This is military-grade shielding, one specialist muttered, designed to block scanners. Mia swallowed hard. What could someone be hiding inside? The weight of the moment settled on her shoulders. Beneath the leather, something dark was concealed, something dangerous, and Ranger had found it first. The question now wasn't just what, but how far they were willing to go to uncover the truth. The suitcase slid slowly along the X-ray conveyor belt, its contents appearing empty, at least to the eyes of the machines. Mia watched the screen, disbelief growing with each scan. There's nothing here, the technician muttered, shaking his head. It's like the case is completely hollow. Mia's heart pounded. She glanced down at Ranger, who sat alert beside her, ears perked, and eyes fixed on the suitcase. That dog knows something we don't, she whispered. Technology isn't enough. His instincts are telling us this is dangerous. The room was tense. Officers exchanged worried looks as the scans repeated with the same result. No hidden weapons, no explosives, nothing illegal. Yet Ranger's behavior screamed the opposite. Could it be some kind of shielding? Mia asked the technician. Yeah, he replied, adjusting the settings. Some materials block the scanners, military-grade stuff. Mia's gaze hardened. So whatever is inside is hidden from every machine we have. Outside the security room, Nazari sat silently, watching the situation unfold with a calm that didn't reach his eyes. When an officer approached, he said quietly, You see? Nothing here. I told you this was diplomatic. But Mia wasn't convinced. I can't ignore Ranger. He's saved lives before by trusting his nose over scanners, she said, more to herself than anyone else. The technician nodded slowly. Sometimes the old ways, like trained dogs, see what tech can't. Mia crouched beside Ranger, running a hand over his sleek coat. You've got this, buddy. We'll get through this together. Suddenly, the radio crackled. Backup requested. Possible hazardous materials. Stand by for further instructions. Mia's heart sank. This was bigger than she thought. She looked up at the faces around her, some skeptical, some concerned, but all waiting. Ranger, you're more than just a partner, she said quietly. You're the key. The contrast between the silent scanners and Ranger's fierce alert was stark. It was a battle between cold machines and living instinct. Nazari's voice cut through the tension. You're wasting time and resources. This case is protected. Mia met his gaze. "And this dog isn't wrong. We'll find out what's inside, no matter what." The room held its breath. The suitcase remained a mystery to the machines, but Ranger's unwavering focus was a silent challenge. Technology was failing, but the bond between Mia and her dog was stronger than ever. As the team prepared for a manual search, Mia's mind raced. Trusting Ranger meant facing danger head-on, but she knew she couldn't ignore the dog's silent warning, not when lives could be at stake. The room exploded into chaos the moment Dr. Ahmed Nazari made his move. Without warning, he sprang from his seat and dashed toward the door, his suit jacket flapping behind him. "Stop! Airport police!" Mia shouted, her voice cutting through the startled murmurs of officers and bystanders. Ranger was instantly alert, muscles coiled, ready to run. Mia didn't hesitate. She grabbed the leash and took off after Nazari, weaving through the crowded terminal. Every second felt stretched, each breath sharp with adrenaline. The maze of hallways and corridors was a blur, but Mia trusted Ranger's instincts to lead the way. "Ranger, stay close," she called, her voice steady despite the pounding in her chest. The dog moved like lightning, navigating the twists and turns with unerring precision. His eyes never left their target, every movement full of determination. Nazari pushed forward, desperate, his face twisted in panic. He shoved a luggage cart into Mia's path. She stumbled but didn't fall, leaping over it to keep the chase alive. "You won't get away," she yelled, grit sharpening her voice. Security radios crackled urgently. Suspect fleeing toward baggage claim. Backup units needed immediately. The officers closed in, but Nazari's speed and familiarity with the airport layout gave him a dangerous edge. Ranger's breathing was controlled, his paws pounding the concrete with purpose. Mia felt their bond deepen in those moments, unspoken trust guiding every step. This was more than a chase. It was survival. Suddenly, Nazari burst through a fire door into a quieter service area. Workers scattered, eyes wide at the sudden intrusion. Mia pushed harder, sweat burning her eyes, her side aching from an earlier blow. But she didn't stop. "He's near the vehicle bays," a voice shouted over the radio. "We've got him surrounded," Nazari's desperation showed as he darted toward the fuel trucks and catering vehicles. Then, with a sudden movement, he pulled something small and metallic from his jacket. A weapon. Mia's heart skipped, fear flashing through her mind. "Drop it," she commanded, her voice sharp. Ranger growled low, ready to protect. Nazari ignored the warning and aimed the weapon. A shot rang out, ricocheting off the concrete with a sharp clang. Workers screamed and ducked for cover. Mia dove behind a luggage cart, shielding herself. "Officer down. Shots fired," came the urgent radio call. But Ranger stayed by Mia's side, eyes locked on Nazari. Without hesitation, the dog launched forward, targeting the man's weapon arm with trained precision. The gun clattered to the ground. Nazari howled in pain as Ranger clamped his jaws around the arm, holding tight, but careful not to cause serious injury. Mia sprang up and moved in, securing his wrist with handcuffs despite the man's violent resistance. "This ends now," Mia said, breathless but resolute. "You're not going anywhere." As backup officers closed in, Mia looked down at Ranger, fearless, loyal, her partner in every sense. Together, they had stopped a threat no scanner or protocol could catch. In that heart-pounding moment, the bond between handler and K9 proved stronger than any danger lurking in the shadows. The suitcase lay open on the inspection table, its torn leather revealing something no one expected. Inside were dozens of small, climate-controlled compartments, each holding a living creature. Mia stared, heart heavy, as a wave of emotions crashed over her. These weren't just animals. They were rare, endangered species smuggled in cruel silence. A wildlife expert stepped forward, face pale. "These are critically endangered salamanders and exotic frogs," she said quietly, pointing to the tiny creatures barely moving in their containers. "Some of these species have fewer than 200 left in the wild." Mia's eyes filled with tears. "How could anyone do this?" she whispered. Ranger sat beside her, ears alert, sensing the tension. His training wasn't just about detection, it was about protecting lives, even the smallest ones. Mia reached out, gently touching the dog's fur. "You found the truth, Ranger, you saved them." The room buzzed as more experts arrived, examining the cargo with growing disbelief. "This is one of the largest trafficking shipments we've seen," the lead technician said, voice grim. "These animals are smuggled for the black market, often tortured or killed." Nazari's face, now under heavy guard, twisted with anger and fear. "You have no idea what you're meddling in," he spat, but no one listened. Mia turned to the team. "These creatures deserve a chance. We can't let this happen." The mood shifted from shock to determination. Officers began making calls to conservation groups, arranging safe care for the animals. "They'll be taken to specialized centers," the wildlife expert assured, "places where they can heal and maybe return home someday." But the damage ran deeper. Hidden beneath the compartments were forged documents, fake passports, and customs papers. "This operation is bigger than one suitcase," Mia said, her voice steady despite the weight pressing down on her. Ranger sniffed the air, his eyes meeting Mia's. She knew this was just the start. The dog's alertness had exposed a dark world few dared face. "Officer Ramirez," the supervisor said softly. "This is a breakthrough, but it's dangerous. They'll come after us." Mia nodded, determination burning in her chest. "We won't back down, not now, not ever." In that moment, Mia and Ranger stood united, their bond stronger than ever. Together they had uncovered a hidden cruelty, a secret that only a faithful dog's instincts could reveal. And now, the fight to protect the innocent was just beginning. The evidence they uncovered didn't just point to Dr. Ahmed Nazari. It connected him to a sprawling criminal network stretching across continents. Mia stared at the screen showing intercepted messages, forged documents, and coded communications. Each new detail deepened the danger surrounding them. "Nazari isn't working alone," Supervisor Thornton said grimly. "This goes far beyond airport smuggling. We're dealing with an international trafficking ring." Mia's stomach tightened. She glanced at Ranger, who sat quietly, his eyes steady and calm. "We're in over our heads," she whispered. But she also knew Ranger's loyalty was their strongest weapon. Days passed and the pressure grew. Threatening calls came to the station. Anonymous messages warned them to drop the case. "You don't know who you're messing with," one said. Mia clenched her fists but refused to back down. One evening, as she left the precinct, a shadow followed her steps. She quickened her pace, Ranger close at her side. "Stay alert, boy," she murmured, heart pounding. Back inside, the team worked around the clock, piecing together the network. The traffickers were ruthless, well-funded, and dangerous. But Mia's resolve never wavered. "We owe it to those animals to see this through," she said during a tense briefing. Nazari's smirk faded when confronted with the mounting evidence. "You think you've won?" he sneered. "There are others. You're just scratching the surface." Mia met his gaze. "Maybe, but every crack lets light in, and Ranger will keep shining." The dog's unwavering presence brought strength to the team. Officers leaned on Mia's partnership with Ranger as a symbol of hope amid darkness. In a world filled with shadows, their bond was a beacon. One night, Mia sat quietly with Ranger, hand resting on his fur. "We've come this far, partner. No matter what happens, I trust you." Ranger's eyes met hers, full of trust and courage. Together, they faced threats that tested their limits. But Mia knew the dog's loyalty could never be broken. It was that loyalty that gave her the strength to stand tall against danger, protect the innocent, and fight for justice, even when the odds seemed impossible. In the darkest moments, Ranger's silent courage was a light Mia could follow. And with him by her side, she wasn't afraid of what lay ahead. The day justice came was quiet at first, too quiet. But Mia felt the weight of it in her chest. Months of investigation, threats, and heartache had led to this moment. She stood, beside Ranger, her loyal partner, ready for what came next. "Today we end this," she said softly, running a hand over Ranger's head. The dog looked up, eyes full of trust and courage. They had faced danger together, and now they were ready to face the final challenge. The team moved with precision. Coordinated raids hit locations tied to the trafficking network across the city. Mia and Ranger were at the heart of it, leading officers through dark warehouses and hidden labs. Ranger's nose guided them to hidden compartments where rare animals were kept in cruel conditions. Each discovery broke Mia's heart, but she pushed forward. "We're saving them," she whispered. At one point, Mia paused beside Ranger, breathing heavy. "You're amazing, buddy. I couldn't have done this without you." The traffickers didn't go down without a fight, but Mia and Ranger were relentless. When a suspect tried to escape, Ranger was there, swift and sure, bringing him down without harm. The dog's loyalty was more than duty, it was love. As the last suspect was cuffed, Mia felt tears sting her eyes. "We did it," she said, voice shaking. Together, the rescued animals were taken to safe facilities, their futures no longer stolen. Mia watched as Ranger sat quietly, exhausted but proud. Her heart swelled with gratitude. "You followed your instincts and saved lives, not just mine, but theirs." The bond between Mia and Ranger had been tested by danger and darkness. Through every threat and every moment of fear, their trust never faltered. "Ranger," Mia said, kneeling beside him, "you're more than a dog. You're my hero." The team gathered, their faces lit with relief and hope. Mia knew this victory was not just about law enforcement. It was about loyalty, courage, and the unbreakable connection between a handler and her canine. In that moment, Ranger wasn't just a police dog. He was a symbol of justice, fierce, faithful, and fearless. And Mia understood something deeper than ever before. Sometimes the strongest weapon isn't technology or force. It's the quiet, powerful trust between a human and a dog. As they walked away from the scene side by side, Mia whispered, "Thank you, Ranger, for everything." And Ranger's tail wagged slowly, a dignified sign of a job well done. The animals were safe now. In the quiet rooms of the rescue center, they received gentle care, warmth, food, and healing hands. Mia watched from a distance, her heart heavy, but hopeful. Every fragile creature was a reminder of the fight they'd won. Thanks to one dog's fierce instincts, Ranger sat faithfully by her side, calm and proud. Mia reached down and stroked his fur, voice soft. "You saved more than just lives today, boy. You saved hope." The months after the raids were long and tiring. Mia spent hours visiting the animals, seeing them slowly recover. Some would return to the wild someday. Others would find sanctuary in protected homes, but all were alive, because of Ranger's nose, his loyalty, and the bond they shared. "Sometimes," Mia said during a quiet moment, "I wonder what would have happened if you hadn't trusted your instincts, if we'd only relied on machines." Ranger looked up, eyes full of silent understanding. No scanner could match the courage in his heart. Mia thought back to the day it all began, the moment Ranger first bit into that suitcase. It was more than an alert. It was a call to protect, a reminder that true bravery comes from the heart. "People don't always see what you see," Mia whispered, "but I do, and I always will." The partnership between Mia and Ranger was more than duty. It was a bond built on trust, love, and unwavering loyalty. Together they had faced danger, stood against darkness, and made a difference that rippled far beyond the airport walls. As the sun set over the city, Mia felt a deep sense of peace. Ranger rested his head on her knee, tired but content. "You're my hero," she said, voice thick with emotion. And in that moment she knew their story wasn't just about catching criminals or saving animals. It was about the quiet power of a dog's heart, a heart that refused to let darkness win. Mia smiled through tears. "Thank you, Ranger, for being more than a partner, for being family." The dog's tail wagged slowly, a gentle promise of loyalty that would never fade. In a world full of shadows, Mia and Ranger had found light, healing, hope, and a bond that could never be broken.